Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Audeze Mobius, and I'm finally reviewing the Audeze Mobius. The Mobius are an interesting headset. I'm a fan of the Audeze sound. That dark, warm sound with the intense bass is just delicious. Do these headphones have that sound? Not really, but I'll get into that later. I won't credit the natural sound of these headphones as their strong point. Rather, it's their versatility. I'm a gamer by nature, but I listen to an incredible amount of music, whether while studying, playing relaxing games, or just chilling with music for the fun of it. I've already got my collection of DACs, amplifiers, speakers, headphones, ear speakers, and yes, that is a Stax reference, and XLR mic setup with full mixing board and a USB audio device. Everything the Mobius can do, I can already do better, but at an incredibly increased cost, with increased complexity, wiring, and a massive desk footprint. So there is an argument to be made here to purchase the Audeze Mobius. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what are the Audeze Mobius? Audeze's Mobius is a closed-back planar magnetic headphone and headset that physically resembles their old EL8 product, except with all sorts of buttons, switches, dials, and cable inputs that make your head spin. It was designed as an all-in-one headphone, the first and last stop for everything you need in a headset to game, enjoy entertainment, immerse yourself in VR, or just general usage. The headphones have a built-in amplifier, digital to analog converter, digital signal processing, mic amplifier, noise canceling for the mic, and a built-in battery. There are connections to connect your own headphone amp to the headphones, as well as go wireless with Bluetooth or use the built-in amplifier, and I found myself using the built-in amplifier using the USB-C connector for the audio input. Because it's capable of wireless use, the Audeze is designed to control all of its features straight from the headset. Volume dials for the headphones, the mic, buttons to cycle DSP modes, 3D modes, which I'll get into later, switch for a mic mute, and power button are all featured on the left ear cup. I've gotten surprisingly decent battery life out of the Audeze while using them in wireless mode, long enough that I set my watch out to keep an eye on it and fell asleep before they died, and woke up to them still running. Mind you, I only sleep for about 4.5 hours on a typical day, so that's not really saying a lot, but it is what it is. As for the sound, that's where the DSP comes in. There are various gaming modes and other modes where the headset automatically does some digital signal processing in the background to alter frequency response. The result is a different setting for listening for footsteps, emphasizing certain gameplay audio cues like gunshots, or just using default settings. I personally use the default settings for my own sanity, but use them however you want. Frankly, having that much bass or treble missing is mind-boggling to me. Now, as for the sound, generally, I've found that the audio is alright. The sound is surprisingly balanced and enjoyable, and to some degree moddable using the different DSP modes. They're not the most engaging, and while the imaging is sufficient, it is not the greatest. So, in general, they're competent at making sound, but by far not class-leading. They don't have that classic Audeze sound. It's much more balanced than that, which might be good depending on your perspective. So to the mic. The mic has a built-in noise canceller that sets a fairly high activation gate before the mic recognizes voice input, and the result can be having to shout into the mic to get it to work, and friends did generally note that I was much quieter on the Audeze mic than using my desktop mic in applications like Discord. There is something of a neat feature built into the mic where you can hear your own input faintly in the background while the mic level is high enough. I thought this was actually an irritating feature at first, but I appreciated it the more I used it. As for comfort, that's a complicated issue. Out of the box, I found the Mobius had a really tight clamp, enough that I had headaches after wearing it for about 20 minutes. I set them on a bookshelf speaker over several days just to kind of decompress the tension in the headband. This actually loosened it up enough that I could wear them very comfortably. The pads themselves were comfortable, and I had no problem with the cup size. My biggest gripe is common to all of those closed-back headphones after loosening the head clamp a little bit, which is my ears almost melt while wearing these things for too long, and it's a sensation you do get used to, but I just find them uncomfortable knowing that I also have open-back headphones nearby. So despite having a built-in amp, DAC, DSP, Bluetooth, and more, I actually didn't find the weight unbearable on the headband. They were relatively comfortable except for the standard overheating problem in my ears. Now that's not to say that these are perfect. Again, the sound is sufficient but not class-leading. And I did have an issue that may or may not be limited to my unit as a lemon. I really don't know. Whenever I powered off my Audezes, when I was done using them, I would get an alert from my software control center that they are no longer charging. And there were several times where I would leave my headphones and come back, and then they were just dead. I learned now, at least, that I just have to unplug and plug them back in to get the charging reworking, and it's a simple enough fix if I can't find some other way to get around that problem. So what's really the use case here? Who are these for? And that's something of a complicated issue. These headphones have a lot of capability, a lot of flexibility. They do a lot of things right, and as a headset and headphone, they're really hard to turn down. The mic is actually not bad. The headphones are certainly more to my taste than, say, the Sennheiser PC37X in terms of sound design, or any of the garbage that comes from Turtle Beach, Razer, or the other gaming companies in general. But I am an open back fan. I would rather have something that breathes a little bit more, has a little bit more imaging and soundstage. Things that come to mind are like the Bear Dynamic DT880 Premium, the Hi-Fi Min, HE400i or Sundaras, the AKG K712 Pros or K7XX, the Sennheiser HD58X Jubilee or the 6XX, or even the Koss ESP950, considering we're talking about a $400 price tag on these Mobius. But that doesn't really look at the whole picture. That's just looking at the headphones themselves, right? Because these do have a built-in amplifier, a built-in DAC, built-in DSP, a built-in mic. They have a built-in head tracking. I mentioned VR earlier, and these actually have built-in head tracking and 3D sound imaging. So you can actually change the sound, the size of the room that you're in terms of depth, in terms of width, so that you can change how far away sounds sound like they're coming from. And it has built-in head tracking, so if you're wearing a VR headset, for instance, if you're looking straight on from some center point which it deems the sound is coming from, if you turn your head right, you now hear the sound shifting more to your left ear, and vice versa. So it's really got all sorts of capabilities built into it for very niche circumstances. And if you fall into those circumstances and you don't already have head tracking technology or, a load of amplifiers and DACs and microphone setups and all that other stuff, or if you don't want the huge desk footprint that all of that equipment takes, then the Mobius really does make a lot of sense for the $400 price point. And I say that using my own desk setup as a potential economic alternative, right? So on my desk, I have a mic stand, which was about $20. I have a Sennheiser E835 mic, which was about $80. I have a XLR mic leading to my my audio device, which was about $20 for the cable. The audio device itself was another $100. Then I have the DAC. I have the amplifier. The DAC was a $100 Modi 3. The amplifier was a Valley 2. I think that was about $150. Then I have the headphones, and we'll just say somewhere in the realm of $150. And when you total all of that up, I think it ends up being around like $630. Buying the Mobius is actually almost 60% of that total cost with all of that same functionality. Well, most of that functionality. The thing is that the Mobius only works for the Mobius. If you decide that you want to be able, or if you want to have a setup that works with all sorts of different headphones, that cost equation kind of falls apart. Or if you already have some of that equipment, that cost equation falls apart. Now, the Mobius does still have some competitive advantage with the inbuilt digital signal processing and the head tracking, but you can get an amplifier and DAC replacement from Sennheiser that has very similar features. Or you could also get separate head tracking that mounts onto your headphones. Again, these are all things that you can tack onto the cost, but it just increases the cost of your setup or your build. The Mobius does all of this without putting any clunky hardware on your desk. It's literally just the thing worn around your head and potentially the cable leading from your PC to the headset. That's it. That kind of simplicity in your total setup, as well as the competency that it does those things, does make the Mobius a potentially compelling product for people that need those specific features. Now, if you're not going to use DSP, if you're not going to use the head tracking, if you already have amplifiers and DACs and want to use a variety of headphones, it might make more sense to go another way. So that's really where we are. You know what I mean? The Audeze provides an incredible amount of functionality. It's a convenient, minimalistic solution to PC audio input and output problems. If you can find a use for even a majority of its functions, it may well be worth the asking price of $400, and that's really up to you. It ends up being a very personal purchasing decision, as most audio products do. Normally, you can find an audience for just about anything in the audio world, and I don't want to discount that or the fact that your ears may be different than mine. So we're going to wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry it took so long, but here we are. Hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. If you would like to see me make more, let me know, especially what products you'd like to see reviewed. It's because there's so many different components, it's hard to know which way the wind is blowing. But I currently have quite a few IEMs on the queue, as well as some other headphones and some digital media players. I think that's about it right now. I do have some speakers as well, but I'm kind of sitting on those because I'm still not quite sure of a way to review those and make it visually interesting for you. But yeah, that's it. I will, however, include a recording of the microphone so you can hear what the Audeze mic sounds like. I used the Audeze and boom mic to record it, so that's using the mic. And I do have a comparison of my desktop setup, so you can just test them side by side and see, what you think of its sound quality, just to put a little bit more information into your hands. And that's about it. I'll see you all next time, and stay safe. This is the built-in microphone for the Audeze Mobius. I'm connected through the USB-C slot right now, and it's a really interesting experience because they have included this feature called side tone, which, when the mic level is turned up, allows the listener to hear themselves speak through the microphone. It's a really different experience, and on this particular pass-through, we have no noise reduction enabled software-wise, but I suspect it's actually being done through the headphone microphone. So we'll go ahead and listen, but it just feels like the activation level is pretty high for this microphone. So we'll see how that goes from there. This is my standard setup with a Sennheiser E835 microphone going through a an Allen and Heath Z10 USB audio interface. Check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2. This is the mic output from the Sennheiser PC37X using the inbuilt mic into the headset. This is hooked directly into the front audio connector and mic connector of my PC, as has been the case for everything else. And again, I normalized the audio using the effect in Audacity. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of what the mic output sounds like for the headset in case you're thinking about using it for that purpose.
Check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2. This is the audio output from the inline mic on the Noble EDC Velvet. This is hooked directly up to the front mic output, or rather the mic input on my PC case. And the audio should be normalized using the Audacity normalize function. This should give you an idea of what the audio output from the mic is at reasonable listening levels, as well as to how clean the signal is. Hopefully this helps.